Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Sideline Banter, brought to you by Women of Fantasy Football. I am Sam Holt, excited to talk to you about Week 11 waivers. We've got injuries to talk about. Now, awkward moment. Where is Derek Tate? Unfortunately, Tate was having some internet issues, but I am very excited and happy to bring on my dear friend, Jagger May. You know him, you love him from Waiver Wire, from Dynasty Nerds, and of course you see him with me on Unbinged. Jagger, thank you so much for answering the bat signal call that I put out and joining me today.
You are welcome. I would only do it for like two people, and you happen to be a half of one of them. So.
I'm a half of one. I appreciate that. Guys, if you are tuning in, please throw any questions that you have for us in the chat, and we will get to them as quickly as possible. This could be, maybe your trade deadline has not lapsed yet. Mine is going to be closing tomorrow, so Jag, I'll be closing with a big Dynasty Trade question for you to end the show today, so prepare yourself for that. But guys, if you have any questions on your start sits, please throw them in, and we will get to them as quick as we can. Jagger, let's talk a tiny bit about Monday Night Football because there was not much to actually talk about. It was a brutal game where you could say the defenses were at it, but really for fantasy value, it was a pretty trash game.
Yeah, it was. I watched a Scooby-Doo mystery where I'm like, where's the scoring? And at the end of it, they took the mask off of Monday Night Football, and they're like, Thursday Night Football, it was you the whole time. That's basically what happened.
It's 100% accurate. That is the best description. It's like, what? It's you? Because, I mean, I feel like there's been like a couple decent Thursday night games, and then we've gotten back to the normally scheduled programming of trash games. And yeah, yesterday just felt like a Thursday where you didn't really need to watch, and hopefully you already won your league because of the other amazing contenders from the weekend, but not tons to cover there. We actually have several injuries I'd much rather cover first because those are going to go into people's start sits going into the week. First, going to talk about Jaxson Dart. I have him in a Dynasty League, and I am very ecstatic to have him. However, the way that he runs is quite similar to his good friend Cam Scadaboo, and he likes to get hurt. So I'm not very excited by the fact that he is dealing with a concussion going into week 11, not necessarily looking to start Russell Wilson if he sits out.
He's a floor play in Superflex. That's so for the normal man, that's a no. Like if
that's a no.
Yeah, like that's people don't realize like most people play single QB. Russell Wilson is like, okay, you have one dude who hoarded every single quarterback, like I can't think of a scenario where I am rolling out Russell Wilson that's not super flex, and I don't really know all the bye weeks. I haven't looked at that quite yet. For week 11. So, but hope you don't have to. Sorry if you do.
I think there's only one quarterback that's viable with a bye this week. That'd be Daniel Jones that you're looking to start in its place. But even the likes of losing him, I agree. I don't feel like you're necessarily looking to start Russell Wilson. Other injuries of note on the list, Davante Adams dealing with an oblique injury. Tyler Higbee looked decent, though, going into this weekend. I feel like there's a chance for targets to go his way. The Seahawks are 30th against the position, so that's kind of where I'm leaning if Adams is out and I'm looking to find maybe a streaming tight end elsewhere. I'm dealing with another injury. Just trying to look at some level of fantasy value elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm going to give you two more options as well, where I do think that we might see an increase of 12 personnel.
Okay.
Which means there could be more targets for Terrence Ferguson as well. And then we've already seen like Kanata Mumfield pop up, and that could be something as well. Really what I'm saying is like, hope you got Puka, that's because like everything else could be messy.
I mean, that's like, it's stating the obvious to feel like, yeah, so Puka is going to get more Puka gets all the targets. So it's like, in terms of if you're losing someone like Adams, do you likely have both Rams players that you're starting? Not likely, unless there is one guy in one work league who has been going around trying to get every single trade he can to get every Rams player. Then when they went on bye, he was like, I have no one to start. And I was like, you had a weird strategy to begin with. You did this to you. You are your own problem. So I don't understand why you did that. But thankfully, it's people like that in work leagues that allow you to win.
Yes.
100%. Let's throw a question in from the chat, guys. Thank you so much for throwing all these in here. We've got quite a few. This one from Alex. Hey guys, this is my team for week 11. What do you think? Wow, this is a lot of names. Okay, so we've got May, Henderson, Judkins, JSN, Justin Jefferson, McBride, Mbuka. I don't even need to read your bench. That's a great starting setup. I don't feel like you need to really necessarily move too many things around. You're already kind of starting your studs.
Yeah, that's like, you did good, kid. I'm proud of you. That's all I could say there.
Proud of you. Another one here. We've got a quarterback question. Someone's dealing with quarterback issues because they're going back and forth between Mariota and Brissett. Which would you rather?
I don't always like do the Socratic method. Which receivers would you rather start? And that'll give you your answer. And
that is
Brissett.
Yeah, that's going to be Brissett between those two. I'm so bummed for Washington. I had such high hopes. They had high hopes for themselves. Let's do one more, and then we'll jump to a couple more injuries here. This one from Joe. Shout out to Keenan Allen for breaking my GOATS record for receptions for the Chargers. Yeah, very happy for Keenan Allen on that one. Let's do a tight end question because we do have a couple other tight ends to talk about on the waiver wire. Theo Johnson being one of them, as well as Schultz. But between the two, this kind of reverses your question on yourself in terms of which would you rather start?
The quarterback. I'd rather have whatever quarterback's attached to Dalton Schultz than not Jaxson Dart. And Schultz has already proven that he's been a steady Eddie all season long in PPR, especially if you're in tight end premium. And they've had some injuries already with that receiving core. It's basically been like Nico Collins, and then everyone else is making it up in the algorithm. So I'd just much rather have Schultz.
Everyone else is making it up in the algorithm. I like that. Agreed. I like Schultz a little bit more. Again, and also because we don't necessarily know if we've got Dart this week, dealing with a concussion, if he's going to clear that protocol. So because of that, I'm probably going to still give the nod to Schultz on that one. Let's talk about a couple more injuries. We just mentioned some other tight ends. Dalton Kincaid dealing with a hamstring issue. Looking at Dawson Knox, but I don't know that you're necessarily leaning him when you've got a couple other tight end streaming options likely available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like, let's get the worst Bills tight end. Like, okay.
The worst one. Let's see. I think Garrett Wilson dealing with a knee injury as well, but besides Breece Hall, 3-4 weeks. Yeah, besides Breece Hall, are you starting any Jets player? So it's not like next man up in this situation.
Yeah, reluctantly Justin Fields, and again, it's because it's super flex and I made decisions. So that's the only reason why I would start a Jets player. It's Breece Hall and everything else, you know.
Breece Hall, everyone else. I have someone trying to make a trade. Same league where I've got Jaxson Dart. Someone's trying to offload Breece Hall for Jaxson Dart. I don't want to do it because the dynasty value of Dart is just too high, and I'm just so questioning whether or not Breece Hall is even there.
QB?
No, it's 2 QB.
I would laugh in their face. I would straight up like that's an auto reject, and I'm like, am I going to be an asshole about this, or am I going to ignore it in general? There's like no happy medium. There's no negotiating. Yeah, that is. I would hurt my finger, spraining my thumb, hitting reject on that. So
okay, Andrew. I'm going to cut this clip for you later. Who's in my league. I'm rejecting your trade. I'm so sorry. We can move on. No, thank you. All right, let's throw another question in here from the chat. There's actually a lot of them, so we want to make sure I don't miss any. Wondering if Chimere DK, we saw good things, not so good things. Is he legit or not? This one from Tootsie Pop. I mean, I feel like the Titans are all just questionable to begin with, so I don't know that I'm super leaning on anyone to pop off, him aside.
Yeah, I think... Well, how do I answer this? This season, I don't know. Next season, I don't know. I like the Titans are just... In redraft, you don't want to be in the position where you're putting in Mr. Scampers, where you're putting in Shamir DK. You just don't want to be there. So I would just say avoid them. Are borderline droppable or streaming. For Dynasty, you're hanging on to it. The Titans are so bad in so many ways. I don't know if Cam Ward's bad. He's statistically one of the worst rookie QBs of all time. That is like statistically valid. I do have eyeballs though. So I do think he's much better than the situation that he's in. But again, I don't know, man. Like I had concerns with him as a prospect. So like Tootsie Pop, I'm sorry. I just don't. No, I don't think he's for real yet. I think it's a mirage. That's all I can. So
This is not the wide receiver you're looking for.
Yeah.
There's going to be other ones.
All the things I'm saying are trying to rationalize saying that he could suck, and I.
He could suck. It's also just one of those things where I think if you're looking at maybe buying the cost in terms of DFS, and it's like a 3 wide receiver situation, like you're looking for someone to pop off just based off of usage, and he's probably a candidate that you're not paying a lot for. But also that might be a DFS team where you're just shooting your shot on a lot of players to see what pops off, and you're not necessarily counting on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're playing DFS in bulk mode at that point.
Yeah, that's exactly. You're like, this is where you're shooting all the shots.
Yeah, like in best ball, I'm like, roster diversity. That's why I drafted a bad team, But like DFS, if you're only drafting a couple, you can't really do that.
Why'd you do that? Roster diversity, because I'm fun and I like eclectic things. I like to say both. Because I'm fun and eclectic. No, because I shoot for upside always. All right, let's do one more question and we'll get to a couple more injuries and waiver wire targets. This one from Mark. I need to build some wide receiver depth on my roster in PPR. Best waiver add Parker Washington, Franklin, or Pierce. I know Pierce is on bye, so I don't really need him this week if that affects it. That's a great question. Also leads into some other waiver wire targets in terms of how you value these. Would you like to do a ranking?
Yeah, it's Franklin, Washington, and Pierce. Franklin is borderline the wide receiver 1 for the Broncos right now. Yeah. I liked him a lot as a prospect, and he fell because of ball tracking issues, and he may be an asshole. But that seems to have resolved itself. But
he's better now.
He's better now, is what I'm saying. And he's getting a lot of targets. Parker Washington, it's situation, and I think he's pretty super duper okay. Trevor Lawrence may suck. That is something that we really need to cope with. I like Alec Pierce a lot. It's just that he's going to be boom or bust, and I like him better in best ball. So if you want to build depth that you can rely on, start with Franklin. If you want a floor, use Parker Washington. If you're just shooting for a high ceiling, Alec Pierce.
I mean, Franklin's also, to your point, been very consistent, had, 4 or more receptions in the last 3 weeks. In the last 3 weeks, he's had a total of 3 touchdowns as well. I just think that there's a decent amount of volume. They've got KC, and then they're on a bye this coming week. So tough matchup against the Chiefs, but depth is looking at more than just this week. So I agree with you there in terms of who you're looking for volume being king. Let's see. I'll do one more. There's so many. Trade away. I love trade questions. Trade away Agbuka and Tracy for Josh Jacobs and Tez Johnson. My running backs are Tracy, Warren, Hubbard, and Allgeier. My wide receivers are Agbuka, Davante, London, Tet, and Pearsall.
Is this a redraft question?
I'm assuming it's a redraft question. Joe's pretty quick.
Redraft, yes. If it is Dynasty, hard no. So.
That's a solid, yeah. I play in too many Dynasty leagues. I need to, every year, every off season, I say to myself, I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to cut back. How many leagues am I in? I'm in 10. I don't want to do this. It's too much.
I'm in 15, and I feel pretty good.
How many are Dynasty for you?
All of them. Like
all of them?
I don't. Redraft. Sam, I'm a very loyal man. I don't like to be out in the streets, out in the waiver wires. I want to be at home with my wife. I'm a one-team type guy, and once I draft them, I keep them for life. That's the kind of guy I am.
I love that. So does that mean equally you have a lot of very similar Dynasty teams?
Unfortunately, sometimes yes. And it always happens, 1 year I didn't really draft any, then I replaced them. I try not to ever have more than 15. So, this season, I'm eating a lot of shit on Justin Fields. I'm eating a lot. Yeah. It is not tasty. Mustard does not help. It sucks. So...
That was graphic. Thank you. That was amazing. All right, guys, please throw some more questions in the chat and we will get to all of them as quick as we can. Let's see. This one from Mr. Scampers is non-PPR. Is it Vidal versus Jacksonville or Tet versus Atlanta?
Atlanta, you can almost not start receivers against. They have a very, very good pass defense right now. I think their defensive coordinator is going to be looked at for the next big head coaching jobs. Maybe, maybe not. Vidal, especially in non-PPRs, who I'd put in my lineup.
I like that. Goodness, there's going to be a lot of coach movement, I think, this offseason. I mean, obviously knowing that Dayball is out with the Giants as well going into this week, I just feel like there's going to be a lot of shifts. Yeah.
Stefanski's probably gone.
Yeah.
Your boy Tomlin, he might have coached himself back in it. I don't know, man. He won't die, dude. He's...
I will never not love Mike Tomlin, but
that's what it's hard, you
it's
know.
hard.
It's you're in your Belichick years, man, where it's like, what is it time?
It's true. I mean, I think that historically, it's got to be some really crazy stat, and I'm terrible with numbers, but I think we've had 3 head coaches in the last like probably 50 years or something really astronomical.
I've only known Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin. I've not known another coach. That's nuts to say. So.
Yeah, that's it. I got to ask Coach Cowher a question at not this last year's media week, but the one before. And it was really kind of one of those moments where it's like you meet your heroes kind of a thing. And he was just so... No, I didn't blow it, thank God. No, I asked him a question about the Steelers going into this coming season. And he just had a really great take in terms of the coaching staff being well-rounded and being well-suited for what their position is. It was a great answer that I got. It was also just one of those things where he was very, very personable, very kind. He's surrounded by like 20 people, and I'm the only girl there and just got a tiny mic, and I'm like, can I ask you a question? And he was really nice. So I enjoyed him. He was great.
Nice.
Yeah, I appreciated it. All right, let's see. I want to talk about Oronde Gadsden, everyone's favorite waiver wire tight end darling. He is dealing with a knee issue. Very bummed about that, especially. But this is also not necessarily a tight end room that you're looking at next man up with Tyler Conklin being behind him. I feel like hopefully for those that have drafted a lot of Chargers receivers and pass catchers, the targets just get spread around a little bit more. Is that your read as well?
Yeah, and if you look at direct correlation, it's Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston's the one who...
Can he come back?
I mean, yeah, he can come back, and it's... He led in targets last game. Obviously, it didn't go as well as like Glad McConkey only had 6, but you know when you convert 4 of those to over 60 yards and a touchdown, that's meaningful. But using that big slot role that Oronde Gadsden and Quentin Johnston have been in, he's the biggest beneficiary of it. So if anything, this is like if you have Quentin Johnston, as long as Oronde Gadsden is out, I feel much better putting him in my lineup than when he's back in. So
that's fair. Also a favorable matchup against the Jaguars in Jacksonville. They're 23rd against the position, so you kind of appreciate that a little bit. You want to feel comfy and cozy when you're getting some of these starts if you have to lose somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This lovely compliment from Mr. Scampers for you. Jaggermay is a verbal graphic designer. You paint with words.
Thank you. That's a compliment. Put that degree to work, guys. Creative writing minor.
I'm sure that came after your mustard comment.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love it. Oh, thanks, Scampers. This one, 3 coaches since 1776.
No. Like, America happened, and then the Steelers got their first coach. And
you know, I kind of want to design this as a T-shirt. It'd be pretty amazing. All right, this one from Smitty. Start 2 running backs, Monty, White, Hall, or Hunt.
I need to look at matchups here. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
Probably Monty. That's like kind of a default answer. Just because...
They've got the Eagles.
No, never mind. Walk that back. The Buccaneers have the Falcons this week? Or is
Bucks have the Bills.
The Bills. Those have been weird games. So I think I'm going to put White out there and then Breece Hall for sure.
Yeah.
Start 2. Yeah, that was easier than I thought.
Got there eventually. This one from Mark. You guys are my heroes. I am 100 sure that I will blow it if I ever get to meet you. Too kind, Mark. All right, let's see.
It, Mark. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I had to.
Too funny. We haven't talked about the Cardinals yet, have we?
No, just a little bit of Brissett action.
All right. Well, on that Brissett action, let's talk about Bam Knight dealing with an ankle injury as well. Amari DeMarcado has had some decent standalone value. Do you feel like he's going to have a little bit more carries going into this week? They have a tough matchup against the Niners. It's my only hesitation.
I don't think the Cardinals, the 49ers are as scary as they used to be, especially with Fred Warner being out.
Brutal.
If you're looking for volume in your flex, if you've got like a deep set of starters, then yeah, you got to. But I mean, we're at a point where even me, a chronically online professional, whatever this job is, when I have to like look up who's getting the targets, that's when you should stop looking at that backfield. Is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, no, that absolutely tracks. All right, let's talk about a couple waiver wire targets. We've talked about some of these receivers from the questions that we've had. And guys, if you have any more questions, please throw them into the chat. Jagger and I will get to them as quick as we can. Going between just a couple off the top, we talked about Parker Washington. Your distrust with Trevor Lawrence, I completely share and agree with. 41% rostered, but not necessarily an offense that I'm looking to grab more pieces of. You mentioned Alec Pierce. I do prefer him as well, dealing with a bye week. But if you're looking at kind of balancing out your roster to move forward, especially as the trade deadline closes, I think that he's someone that you can add some decent depth with. How do you feel about Tez Johnson, though? I kind of want to pick your brain on him.
A lot. I like him a lot. As long as this receiving core stays decimated, he's a good route runner. His problem is he's small and not that athletic, except when he does backflips, so I don't know what that means. So it just... He's getting targets, and Baker is good enough to get him there. You know, like Tez Johnson is how I would feel about Parker Washington if I didn't think that Trevor Lawrence was ass. So that's where I'm at with that.
That's fair and valid. And as the kids would say, it's a mid matchup this week at Buffalo in terms of how they are against the position. So if you're looking for, value upside, I think that Tez could give you that. It's really hard to see this receiving core getting healthier as the season continues to go forward. Just the way that they seem to be playing. The Bucs have a lot that they seem to always be playing with constant chips on their shoulder. Mayfield always getting up when he gets absolute snot kicked out of him every single time is kind of inspiring. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love it. All right. Let's see. Got to talk about Tyler Allgeier. I kind of feel like I low-key want to put a subtitle to this week's episode because it kind of feels like cuffing season as we head into fall and we head into Christmas. Yeah. This is the time where you start to stash some of these handcuffs, for lack of a better word, and just to lean into the bit. But Tyler Allgeier is someone that seems to have decent standalone value and love to vulture touchdowns from all of my Bijan Robinson shares.
I'm actually surprised at this rostership. Is this sleeper?
So I pull all of these from the lovely Kendall Valenzuela over at Fantasy Life, and they pull it from multiple sites. Okay,
noted. That's a wild number because I feel like he's like a must-have handcuff.
I feel like some, yeah.
Like Tyler Allgeier, guys, like if you're here, look at me. It's real. He's not going to go away. It's not a mirage. It's not just, Arthur Smith. It is. He is a real guy who deserves goal line targets. Or goal line carries. He's a good goal line back. He's good at what he is. They don't want to murder Bijan Robinson with 30 carries every game as much as we want that. That's not how real football works. We are sitting there like, God, why don't you blow up the sun? Because it doesn't make any sense, man. Like that, there's a reason, football's reason why they give him like this. So that's why, like Tyler Allgeier, he should be at like 75% rostership, like or higher, at least north of 50. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, I mean, I feel like he's had solid flex potential most season long. Most weeks. Most weeks. Just depending on the matchup too, it's sometimes stronger than even flex. He's almost RB2 levels in terms of what he's putting out there. And yes, actually, funny enough that you say that. I did see something online saying there's a new hole in our sun. I think that might have happened when he vultured these 2 touchdowns from Bijan Robinson. I feel like this is an equal correlation. I'm not a scientist, but I feel like that's related.
Stop praying so hard, guys. You'll kill us all. Don't
Kill us all. I'm dead. All right, I'm going to throw it to this question. Start 2 between Metcalf, Odunze, McMillan, and Marks at Tennessee. Do we trust DK even if it's versus the Bengals? This is really 2 different parts of the question. So let's do your pick 2 to start, and then let's unpack why I'm sad for my Steelers.
McMillan is no because of the Falcons. I know that off the bat. Odunze, I think it's just a must start. He had 2 bad weeks. We're really bad at just like punishing people too much, and he's going against the Vikings, who have been a really soft defense. So like that's an automatic. When you say trust DK, guys, we know who DK Metcalf is. This is DK Metcalf. You're like, oh wow, look at him. He's big, he's fast, he gets me 3 touchdowns, and then you got 2 weeks of just like, what the hell am I rostering? That's DK Metcalf, guys. That's so. With that being said, yeah, if he's against the Bengals, I'm putting him out there because of the upside of who he is. So. I love Woody Marks, but don't get cute.
I like that. This is not a get cute moment, and I agree. DK Metcalf is everything I expected him to be on the Steelers. He has abs, he's eating Skittles, and sometimes he catches targets and sometimes he doesn't. I also feel like there's a lot of narratives that go into starting Metcalf, especially after a week like the Steelers just had. I'm going to call my team the way I see them. We're a little bit emotional sometimes, and I feel like we just had a really bad game. Rodgers has been an emotional quarterback himself. I do feel like this is a get-right game, and we do really well when our backs are against the wall. And this is likely going to be a big Aaron Rodgers getting shit together and getting his pass catchers early and often. I also kind of low-key like Calvin Austin in this game as well. Mm-hmm. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll talk about a couple more, because I want to talk about more of this cuffing season narrative with a couple of these running backs in terms of your value on them. This one from Scampers. Imagine if DK ate protein. I know! Who would have thought? I mean, if he ate protein.
I've actually, because I've thought the same thing. I'm like the flaw of thermodynamics does not, he doesn't beat that.
No.
And he has a professional chef that he gets his required protein in, and that's why he eats whatever he wants the rest of the time. So that's what happens.
And when you run off that many vibes, you're just burning calories. So
I was about to say, calories aren't a problem for him. It's getting the calories that is probably the problem.
Exactly. All right, this one from Mark. As long as Purdy has been out, do we trust him to start immediately or wait and see with the Niners defense? They're going to be in a passing script a ton. It's a good question in terms of how you value him. And we've got also Joe Burrow likely going to be coming back too. So how do you like to value quarterbacks coming back from injury that has been, kind of hampering them for multiple weeks?
Quarterback and again, it's single QB. You have options. It just what is your other option besides Purdy before you make that decision? That's usually what I go to. Do you actually have someone that you feel good about, or do you just feel scared about Purdy? Because most of the time, Mac Jones has been tearing it up. He could be shitty, but they've been slow to bring him back. He's had a lot of practice, so let's just hope that translates right away. I would throw him out there. But again, if you have another solid option, don't get cute. Just go ahead and put him out there and see what you got in Purdy. The 49ers, I don't think they have a real doctor. They have like Dr. Death who lied his way through. They have something like that. Because I've never seen a more injury-riddled team that shouldn't be this injury-riddled. And it's not like the Commanders had a bad year. They had a bad year. The Commanders' year is the 49ers every year. It's just they're decimated. I'm like, yeah, just like in 2018, just like in 2022.
And they're not running on MetLife Field, but they're still managing to get this hurt and banged up. I feel like where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think you're onto something.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, 100%. Lots of things to be nervous about. And yeah, if you're in a super flex league, when I'm looking at quarterbacks that are coming back, Joe Burrow is available in a lot of leagues that I'm in. At the end of the day, if you've got an extra bench spot and you want to play a little bit of defense, I'm not mad at that either in terms of picking someone up so someone else can't start him. But I'm also very much a wait and see person when it comes to someone like a quarterback coming back from injury, unless they just have an abhorrently good matchup against a brutally awful defense.
I feel worse about receivers than I do any position. That's like the pecking order. Receivers, like I need to see it before you come back.
100%. Actually, speaking of needing to see it, let's talk about Christian Watson, who after this pitiful Monday Night Football game that pretty much nobody watched, or if they did, they wish they hadn't watched it, only had 2 receptions for 45 yards and coming again off injury. But he's got the Giants this weekend, who are 26th against the position. This is kind of one of those things where he got the reps. He did a jog with this game. You saw him out there. He was moving. It's fine. Do we have much more trust in him, especially given the really good matchup?
I don't. I need to look what happened with the Dubs injury. Didn't look that serious. Maybe it's something that could be like nagging for like a week. But Christian Watson, when he's healthy, is like a touchdown big play machine. I don't love Christian Watson, but statistically, if he's healthy, he's probably worth putting in your flex, and he's worth being picked up. And I still think we thought, well, Matthew Golden, they finally drafted a first-round receiver on another wide receiver too. It's bonkers, man. They have a type, and it's not an alpha. I'll tell you that much. It's like it's weird, man. And I think Christian Watson can score just as much as anybody. So I would definitely think he's a priority add and someone that I might, especially against the Giants, and depending on what my team is, I might be throwing him in my flex.
I like that, actually. Important to note and highlight these priority ads. Guys, along the ticker at the bottom, again, I've got all of these waiver wire targets, and if you want to look into more waiver wire depth, make sure you check out my lovely friend Kendall Valenzuela's waiver wire article on fantasylife.com. She covers a ton of amazing stuff for you guys there. Want to highlight, again, just 2 running backs in terms of stashes and for cuffing season rules. Blake Corum for the Rams. Should anything happen to Williams, I feel like he is still a decent enough grab to stash for the rest of the season. 56 rushing yards on 13 carries this past week. Do you agree? Does he deserve a spot on your bench?
Yeah, it's happening. The Kyron Williams workload is actually cutting down to where Sean McVay said, I don't want to give him 40 touches a game anymore. So this is another, I think, Tyler Allgeier thing where I'm like, this is very real, and he should be rostered.
I think so. And here's the other thing, too, in terms of, I think that sometimes when you're playing fantasy, you want to look into coach speak a little bit, or not necessarily speak, but how he likes to play. And McVay is playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers in terms of how he's looking at the season. The Rams are 7-2. He is playoff-minded coach, and he's going to want to make sure that one of his best players is healthy going into the playoffs and leading up everything towards there. So I do feel like Corum is going to have some interesting value as these weeks go forward. Kind of a tough matchup against the Seahawks this week, who also have an amazing defense. But in terms of a stash, I do feel like he deserves a roster spot on your team. Let's see, one more stash. And this is really just a stash because you mentioned it. The Niners are constantly injury prone. Brian Robinson Jr. for the Niners. This is really just a grab in case anything happens to CMC, and knock on something next to you because I'm not trying to speak it into existence.
Yeah, it's we saw Brian Robinson have life because weren't they up big that game or something? Or so they're like, here, man, you're important to us. That was his pizza party, So
here, you get a slice of cake.
Yeah, and I definitely think Brian Robinson is more important on your roster if you have CMC than he is on my roster because I want a priority backup.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Last receiver I want to talk about in terms of depth and bolstering your roster going into the rest of the season, probably Luther Burden for the Bears. You've got DJ Moore, who went out with a shoulder injury in the game, and then Burden came up with, a good number of receptions. He was clean with his targets, 3 for 3, 51 yards. If you're looking for anything like that in terms of upside, is he someone worth a stash, or is he really just someone that you're going to pick up and drop going into the next week?
I think it's another one that's real, but he's less of a priority because I feel like it's Rome Odunze. It's starting to be Colston Loveland and then everything else. But I just put up a video on RotoWire. That's my weekly panic meter. DJ Moore is borderline droppable. Like everyone's just like, eek, we can't say that. But I'm like, man, if I put another name that's not DJ Moore, you're like, oh man, Calvin Austin, or something.
Darn. No.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like it's pretty bad. And Luther Burden is Ben Johnson's guy. Literally, Ben Johnson came to Chicago and he basically walked into the mic and said, I hate DJ Moore. Like, he didn't say that, but in coaches speak, he did.
I mean, just looking at the numbers going down from this season, the only other 2-digit fantasy point game that DJ Moore had outside of his game against the Bengals in week 9 was against Dallas in week 3, and everything else. And he got a touchdown. That's his only touchdown is in week 3. It's brutal. And you have to think about where you even drafted him in terms of output. I think also warrants why he's finding his way off of your roster and off of your bench. I kind of agree with you in terms of his droppability. Or maybe, it's desperation week for trade week and you can kind of pawn him off into a couple trades with somebody else.
You're so like, hey man, he's got so much upside. He's never seen it.
I mean, for that fact, you probably can't even trade him to someone who is a Bears fan. You'd probably be like, no, I've seen this sign before, and I'm not down.
We've had 10 weeks. That means only 10% of the time he is giving you double-digit points. It's ugly.
It's ugly. It's brutal. Any last targets you want to shout out in terms of who you're looking to make sure that people pick up this week?
No, you have a pretty comprehensive list. I'm trying to think of anyone because I'm one where I don't want to go through injuries and then get the next man up. Is it worth getting the next man up? Because I go back to the Jets. I'm like, oh man, Garrett Wilson's out. Who's next? It's all bad.
It's all bad.
I'd only give words of caution on a couple. Parker Washington, BTJ could come back healthy, and maybe Liam Cohen hates him less. And Jacoby Myers is there being integrated, so that could be fool's gold is one. Other than that, that's my only word of caution. But good luck, guys. We're at the point now where you're either good or you're not. Mm-hmm. Most of these guys aren't going to be the one who saves your season, but you could make a trade that with some of these with some shit and pick up something to add depth.
Yes. All right. Since you brought it up because you said trade, I'm going to ask you my trade question that I kind of teed us up to begin the show. Dynasty salary league, $300 cap on our salaries. My highest paid player is Jamar Chase. I am somehow, given my crazy roster, in a very good spot to go the distance and get the championship of this one. And I have someone in my league who's definitely selling the farm and seeing what pieces he can get. So he's looking to move Drake London, who's also at an extremely high contract. Is he worth it? Because he's looking to offload. What he wants is young players. So I'm thinking of offering Rome Odunze so I can get me some Drake London and probably a 2nd round pick or a 3rd round pick. Too much?
Yeah. You take away 2 bad weeks. Rome Odunze has been more effective than Drake London. He's younger. To me, you get the same upside and half the contract. You would be doing you're not Jerry Jones, Sam. You're smarter than that.
I try.
You are a Carly Ursay Gordon. You're smart. You're in the trenches. You got your headset on and your fucking clipboard. We don't make moves like that. I would rather maybe lose in the playoffs with Rome Odunze than sell out to make a lateral move and gain more years on our roster. So.
Fair. See, this is why I wanted to save this question for you, because I knew you'd be my voice of reason. And I saw the shiny object. I got excited and looking at stats and thinking, I can have 2 top 10 receivers going into the playoffs in this league. And this is why we ask. But that's okay. Thank you so much for that. Guys, let's tell everyone they can find you and find all the work that you're doing.
If you want redraft content, I'm over at RotoWire. If you want like real sicko shit, then you're into Dynasty and especially into rookie content, I'm over at Dynasty Nerds. We're actually launching a whole other channel just called Draft Nerds. All I do is look at rookies, and I'm like almost so detached from redraft, even though I clearly still I surprise myself at the knowledge that's in there that I've collected just by being around other fantasy people. So definitely go check that out. And if you're a nerd, me and Sam are together a lot on Unbinged, and we talk about fun stuff. So.
Yeah, we do. We just broke down the latest episode of It Welcome to Derry, and if you guys are into scary stuff, then come join us for that. We're having fun every single Monday that show gets launched. Check it out every single Sunday night. And we also just reviewed the new Predator Badlands, which I have this lovely little Predator keychain everyone's jealous of. You don't have it, and I do.
Yeah, and she has like cool like a Pennywise mug. And then on those episodes, Sam doesn't wear makeup, so she looks scary. She's got this Aunt Gladys look. No, I'm just kidding.
How dare you? Rude. You know, I'm not going to lie. I've considered doing my Pennywise makeup for one of our Monday shows. If I have to do like a work from home day on a Monday, I'm doing it, and I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to randomly turn on my camera and scare the crap out of all of you. It's going to be very fun. Yeah.
Wait.
All right, guys, that'll do it for us this week on Sideline Banter. Last thing I want to say really quickly is thank you so much to our veterans. It is Veterans Day today. I want to recognize and thank you all so much for what you do for all of us and all of that you put in. I wanted to give a special shout out to my friend Monty, who is a veteran as well. So appreciate you for your service and all that you do. Guys, thank you so much. Good luck in week 11, and I will see you next week again on Tuesday night. Thank you so much, Jagger, for joining me.
You're welcome.
Bye, guys.